All right, today we're going on a bit of a wild ride. We're diving deep into one of the most creative and, frankly, unusual models of reality ever put forward. We're exploring the work of Itzhak Bentov, a brilliant inventor who one day decided to point his genius away from medical tech and aim it straight at the mechanics of consciousness itself. So get it ready, because this is going to challenge pretty much everything you think you know about solid matter, time, and your own place in the cosmos. Ben Tove himself gives us a heads up right at the start. It's part warning, part invitation. He's basically telling us, hey, leave your assumptions at the door for this one. Come in with an open mind. Because to really get what he's talking about, you have to be willing to entertain some seriously wild ideas. So are you ready? So here it is, the big one, the central, mind-bending question that kicks this whole thing off. What if the solid, stable world you see around you isn't actually solid or stable at all? What if everything, and yeah, that includes you, is constantly blinking out of existence and then back in, way too fast for us to ever notice? For Bentov, this wasn't just some fun what-if game. No, this was the absolute key to understanding how reality actually works. Okay, so to even begin to wrap our heads around that whole cosmic blinking idea, we got to start with the basics. And for Bentov's, the most basic principle of all is this. Everything, and I mean everything, is just vibration. He believed the universe isn't a collection of things. It's a symphony of frequencies. So let's tune in. So check this out. Bentov used this really simple, kind of beautiful analogy. Picture this. You sprinkle some sand on a metal plate, right? Then you take a violin bow and run it along the edge to make the plate vibrate. The sand doesn't just go flying everywhere. Nope. It organizes itself. It creates these stunning, almost geometric patterns. It gathers in the still points, the nodes, of something called a standing wave. It's a perfect example of how a simple vibration can create complex, stable order out of pure chaos. But it gets even cooler when these vibrations start to talk to each other. It's a thing called resonance. You've probably heard of this. You get two violins, tune them exactly the same, you pluck a string on one, and without anyone touching it, the same string on the other violin starts to hum. Energy is being transferred super efficiently. And this is absolutely crucial, because Bentov's big idea is that we are those violins, just waiting to be tuned by the universe. And get this isn't just some abstract physics concept. It is literally happening inside you right now. Your whole body is an oscillator, constantly moving with the pulse of your blood. Usually, it's just a messy, chaotic signal. But in states of deep meditation, when the breath gets super quiet and almost stops, something incredible happens. The whole system clicks into resonance. It starts producing this powerful, smooth, perfect sine wave at about 7 cycles per second. And here's the kicker. That frequency is almost a perfect match for the resonant frequency of the Earth's own electromagnetic field. It's our first big clue that maybe, just maybe, we're built to be in tune with the planet itself. Okay, so everything's vibrating. We got that. But what is the thing doing the vibrating? Right? What is all this stuff made of? Well, let's go on another one of Bentov's famous thought experiments. We're going to grab a ridiculously powerful microscope and just zoom in. We start with some, muscle tissue. But then we zoom in and boom, suddenly there's this incredible order, these beautiful crystal-like fibers. We push in further, and now we're seeing individual atoms all humming away in these perfect, orderly lines. Okay, let's go deeper. We focus on the nucleus of one atom, the thing that's supposed to be the most solid part. And it starts to get blurry. It's not a thing anymore. It's just this pulsing shadow. And when we push the microscope to its absolute limit, there's nothing. I mean, literally nothing there. No stuff, just empty space throbbing with energy. So what does that mean? It means the solid world you think you're living in is basically an illusion. What we call matter is really just a bunch of energy fields doing an intricate dance in a whole lot of empty space. And this empty stage is where things get really wild. All right, so if reality is just a vibrating field of energy, now we can finally get to the heart of it. We can finally go Stalking the Wild Pendulum, the title of Bentov's book, and see what happens in that one tiny, perfect moment of stillness. Think about a pendulum in the normal world, the world we see every day. It swings up, and for a split second at the very top, it stops, right? Velocity is zero, momentum is zero, we know exactly where it is. Easy. But this is where quantum mechanics crashes the party and flips the whole table over. Heisenberg's uncertainty principle says something totally bizarre. It says that if you know something's momentum perfectly, like you know for sure it's zero, then its position becomes completely unknown. You have zero idea where it is.
So let that sink in for a second. The implication is just huge. For that tiny, tiny fraction of a second, when the pendulum is perfectly still, it just stops being in one place. And don't forget, Bentov says your body is an oscillator too, so this applies to you. It's not there anymore. It's smeared out across space.
So where does it go? This is the wild part. Bentov's model says it expands instantly to fill all of space. At infinite speed. It becomes, for that one moment, omnipresent. And if you are an oscillator, then every single time you blink, every time an atom in your finger vibrates, your consciousness, the observer, blinks out of our physical reality, expands to become one with the entire cosmos, and then collapses right back into you, all in less than an instant. Okay, let's zoom back out. Take a deep breath. If every single atom, every person, every star is doing this constant blinking in and out, what does that imply for the universe as a whole? Well, this is where Bentov goes full-on cosmic. He imagined the whole universe shaped like a giant torus, a donut shape. And it's a closed system. Stuff erupts out of a white hole in the middle, flows out and expands, then curves back around and gets sucked back into a black hole, only to be shot out again. It's this endless cycle of creation and dissolution. Now, to get how information works in this cosmic donut, we need one last piece of the puzzle, the idea of a hologram. Imagine you're dropping a bunch of pebbles into a still pan of water. You get all these ripples crossing over each other, creating this really complex pattern. Well, a hologram is kind of like freezing that pattern. And the amazing thing is, if you took just one tiny piece of that frozen pattern, the information of the whole thing is encoded in it. The whole is in every part. And this is where it all clicks together. This is Bentov's grand vision. Every observer, that's you, me, every atom in the universe, blinking in and out, we're all pebbles being dropped into that cosmic pond. Or expanding waves of consciousness interfere with each other and create this one vast cosmic hologram. And this hologram, which he called the universal mind, literally contains every piece of information that has ever existed, anywhere, ever. Okay, that's a lot. It's fascinating. But you might be thinking, so what? What does any of this have to do with me, right here, right now? Well, this is where the theory stops being cosmic and becomes incredibly personal. And honestly, kind of empowering.
So first, we have to flip our thinking. It's not that some matter, like our brains, has consciousness. No. For Bentov, it's that all matter is consciousness. The whole universe, it's just consciousness in the process of developing. It's experiencing itself, learning about itself through everything, from a rock to a star to you. So let's break down what this actually means for you. It means your brain isn't creating thoughts. It's more like a really sophisticated radio, tuning into frequencies from this universal field. Your body is that pendulum, constantly blinking between our world and that universal hologram. It means you are in constant, instantaneous contact with the entire universe. The old saying, as above, so below, becomes literally true. In the simplest terms, you are a hologram, interpreting a holographic universe. And that leads us to the final, really provocative question. If any of this is even close to being true, if you really are a tiny but complete hologram of the entire universe, what knowledge is already inside you, just waiting? What potential, what part of your own infinite self have you maybe forgotten? And what's stopping you from reclaiming it right now?